March 11, 2011. My brand complete submission to God. Said my Shahada after months of discernment. The circumstances that led me to Islam were not easy. But alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks are due to God. I am now, finally, a Muslim. Let me share with you my journey to the Islam. She was a Roman Catholic by birth. My mother went nun for several years before leaving the convent and educated us with a life of prayers. At the age of 7, she had internalized in me the virtue of submit to God and look at everything that happens as God's way of me. Prepare for the best things to come. Having developed a personal relationship for myself with God, she had been very involved in apostolic labors. I even taught catechism and received the Catechist of the Year award when I graduated from the 2nd degree. After that, life has been a constant journey with faith. At a very significant moment in my life, I worked for a humanitarian foundation focused on projects designed for unite Filipinos in prayer, regardless of religion. The foundation maintained the conviction that we are all brothers and sisters under a fatherhood of God. Same before I got involved with the foundation, my prayer life was centered on God, the Almighty. However, of course, having received a Catholic formation at home and at school, I developed certain devotions to some saints of the Church, recognizing them not as little deities, but as companions in prayer for my intentions. There was a point when I wondered who among the saints were the most effective in bringing blessings. And so it ended praying again directly to God, the one supreme being, the Almighty, knowing that He is the primary source of blessings after all. When my mother was diagnosed with leukemia and during the final stage of her illness, it was a period of pure struggle. At one point I woke up praying to God to switch positions with her, so that I could endure the disease. It was a never-ending search for resources, in the hope of having my mother cured by medical advances. Even our priest of the parish and close friends of the family said, "Surrender. Surrender to God." So, I remembered again to submit, especially when the body of my mother was already rejecting and did not respond to chemotherapy. My mother's death was a turning point in my life. Since that time my life has been a constant battle for surrender and complete submission to God. The ego made me lean more towards my plans, the struggle to achieve them and the stubborn pursuit of what I wanted, rather than the many signs and inductions of God. During these moments only I found peace when I surrendered, but as I am human, I always fell again in the trap of wanting things on their own. After my mother's death I received an offer of jobs in Qatar. It was in 2003. Maybe it wasn't ready yet. Accepted another job in Philippines, since it made no sense searching for a job abroad because my mother had already passed away. What would be the point of winning what he wanted at the time when she was alive, so that he could sustain the medical treatment and also take her places? None. Then, in 2006, came an unexpected call for an interview of a German employer with a huge project in Qatar. Oh Qatar, once again he waved and hesitantly attended the interview, following the advice of my father to make an attempt. He did not expect to get the job, but the signs during the interview process made me believe that the job was for me. Within a month of that fateful day, I came to the Qatar. I thought the opportunity to win more was all that Qatar had to offer. Surprisingly, it gave me something much deeper. In my Catholic upbringing it was inculcated in our "It is clear that the purpose of life is to know, love and serve God." In fact, it is the nature of man to continue searching for the meaning of life. The search unending by the proverbial fountain of youth is deeply rooted in the man's longing for the meaning and purpose of existence. If you find what you are looking for, you will never stop. Therefore, he will never stop and he will buy time and health to continue his crusade. The millions of readers who catapulted the book, The Purpose-Driven Life, Purpose, to the condition of bestseller are in themselves a testimony of how many people are truly looking for direction and purpose. At the age of 8 or 9, I asked my mother, where was God before creation? I told her that I spent time with my eyes soaked in sweat in full concentration, just wondering what was happening here, in order, my position and location, the clouds, the blue sky, the moon, the 9 planets and out of the Milky Way, only to find a vast expanse of space. With the breadth and breadth of this space, God was still above it. When there was nothing, where was he? Questioned, and my mother exclaimed with a smile on his face and hugged me. Are you already thinking that way? Asked. And then she said, so, my dear, is how much our God is great and infinite. It's beyond comprehension, but believe me, he is where is. Man's longing, young and old, is not for things materials, nor emotional and physical gratification. It's all this and more. We are all in search of God from birth. We are made for know, love, serve, and now, being a Muslim, let me add one more, worship God in his oneness. In my search for God through the difficulties of I glorify him for leading me in the direction of the path of Islam.